Hello my beautiful friends, I am here a few days before New Year's Eve and I'm hoping to do one last reading vlog, and this is going to be a final push for 2025, and I have a few books that were on my read it or unhaul it list. I did an exploding TBR where basically these are books I have to read by the end of 2025 or I will donate them. And these are books that I just kept putting off for one reason or another. They're books that are like the oldest on my physical TBR, and I have a couple left. And we're going to tackle those in this vlog, as well as read two books that my patrons voted on, and these are books that are like the oldest ebook arcs I have, the oldest audiobooks in my audiobook library, that sort of thing. I am reading Murder on Astor Place, a Gaslight Mystery by Victoria Thompson. This is the first in a historical mystery series. I think it's like fairly cozy, but still a little more graphic than your average cozy, if that makes sense. I have gotten a good chunk of the way into this, so I will give you a reading update on this later. I did start this early when I was kind of sick and needed something to read. I also have A Biscuit, a Casket by Liz Mugviero. This is a positively organic mystery, and this is a Halloween cozy that I meant to get to this season and didn't. I have not read any from this series. I think this is book 2 or 3, but this it takes place in Frog Ledge, Connecticut. I need to look up if that's a real town, but I love the name of that. And our main character runs a organic treat bakery for dogs. And this is a Halloween cozy. I'm like, come on, that's so fun. That's so fun. Then I have this historical thriller. It's called The Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. I just don't know why. I cannot get to this book. I don't know what it is. But there are these killings in Boston that are inspired by Dante's Inferno. They are very grisly. There's like a series of them, and these unlikely sleuths at the Dante Club, including Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Oliver Wendell Holmes, James Russell Lowell, and J.T. Fields. They're all renowned scholars with the skills to decipher these clues that the killer are leaving. It sounds like it'd be right up my alley, right? Like, I love some historical reading. I'm trying to get more into it because I really do enjoy it when I get to it, but I always tend to put off historical fiction. I don't know why. It's one of my goals this next year, is just to like dive headfirst and enjoy the genre. And I love that it's literary themed with the scholars. It sounds great. I don't know. Then the last one is The Scapegoat by Daphne du Maurier. I really enjoy her work. I've read 5 different books from her, 4 novels and a short story collection, and they've all been 4 to 5 stars for me. So ask me why this has been on my TBR, my physical TBR cart, for like 2 to 3 years. I don't know why. I bought this for $1 at my library book sale. I'm like, come on, Amy. So I have The Scapegoat here. I just barely started this. I read 2 chapters this morning as I was kind of slowly easing into the day because I was without some Dayquil right now. I am not even like, it's helping me to function a bit. But this is The Scapegoat by Daphne du Maurier, and I'm so excited to read this. The basic premise of this is that there is a Frenchman and an Englishman. We're kind of reading, I think, following the Englishman, and he is like a doppelganger for the Frenchman. They are very similar in appearance, and I think one of them ends up turning the other into a scapegoat for something they've done. That's a general premise. I'm very excited for this. Her writing is so like atmospheric and like lyrical. It's so beautiful, and I just don't know why it takes me so long to get sometimes to these classics. And then as for my patrons' picks, I am currently listening to the second in the Jules and Bun mystery series. This is one of the oldest audiobooks in my Audible library book, little library. It's called Who's Dead, Doc? This is a cozy mystery, and it features our main character Jules, who runs a rabbit rescue farm, and her sidekick Bun, who is her pet rabbit who can communicate with her and her alone, it sounds like, and it's really fun. I read book 1 actually with my patrons in April, which is kind of a fun sort of Eastery feeling cozy with the rabbits at the heart of it, and I really loved it, and I kept meaning to get to book 2, and I actually have book 3 physically behind me, so I really want to get to book 2 so I can get to book 3 here, and this is my chance. And then the other book I'll be reading is called If You Lie. It's by Caleb Steffens. I don't think I've read anything by this author, and this was actually a NetGalley ebook arc that I received over a year ago. It is one of my very oldest arcs, and I would really like to get it knocked out. It is a psychological thriller, and it features a true crime podcaster and her sister. They're on a luxury cruise together, and they're trapped in some kind of game, it sounds like not a fun game. I'm very excited for this. It's one, like all these books, I'm genuinely pretty darn excited for most of these, and yeah, so this is going to be a read it or unhaul it book. If I don't read these, that's it. That's it. So we are going to be kind of vicious. We're going to see how these are. I'm very much enjoying Murder on Astor Place so far. Why did it take me so long to start this book? I'll give you more of a synopsis and update on it later, but why did it take me so long to start this? I don't know. And then as for the rest of this vlog, I am just kind of looking for like a New Year's reset. So we are going to be doing some journaling. This is my yearly journal, so I use this to track goals. I do set quarterly goals usually. I did just decorate my 2026 page here. I kind of have a, I guess, kind of scrapbooky style. This was actually what I used for my 2025 one as well, but I still had like over half of the journal. I didn't want to just put it aside for a new one, especially because I love Tiana and this journal is so beautiful. So I just put a tab and this will be my start page for 2026. I have goals and things that I will be adding in here. I like to keep a track of all the new recipes I learned throughout the year, both cooking and baking, just because that's a passion hobby of mine and it's fun to see what I've grown and like learned over the years. So for example, last year I found my favorite blueberry muffins and apple pie and pumpkin bread recipes. I also learned how to make s'mores cookies and a really great blueberry pie. I had some brownie experiments. Some of them they were all pretty good, but not home runs. I did learn how to make a really great chickpea salad and a lemon ricotta pasta with spinach. I also played with some enchiladas. I've been working on this kielbasa sweet potato roast and a zuppa toscana soup, and I just really enjoy tracking those things. For me, it's really motivating. I know for some people, maybe that seems kind of like not fun to track it, like makes it more of like a chore or something. But for me, I'm very much a, can I track it? I also have a page that I dedicate to Christmas shopping and fall birthdays because we have a huge number of fall birthdays from like September on in my family, and and because the holidays are also coming up, I like to track what I'm purchasing and planning to buy and like things like that to spread it out because it helps me stay organized. So I will be going through and making some of those spreads, and then I'm also going to be starting my reading journal, which I haven't done anything with. I bought this off of Amazon. It was like $9 or something. It's not like a super fancy journal, but it is a light, there's some light bullets on here. But I'm excited because this one lays flat and my current reading journal has a binding. This was my first year fully keeping a reading journal, and I just used one I had on hand because I just wanted to make sure I was invested enough to really enjoy it. But this year I'm so excited to have a flat one, so I can do spreads in the middle. I'm very excited. So we'll be setting up some pages for that. I have some reading goals. I want to set up my book club page for my patrons because I like to keep track of the star ratings for each book each month I give it, and just like a little synopsis of what I liked about it. I'll be making some other, you know, TBRs and things like that. So I'm really excited. So we're going to be doing that. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of cooking or baking at some point during this. Because, well, I have to eat and I enjoy filming those and sharing those with you guys. So that's going to be this vlog. If that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and dive in. update on Murder on Astor Place, a Victoria Thompson mystery. This is a gaslight mystery, book 1 in the series. This book is going to be the end of me. Why did I not get to this sooner? This is gonna be a regret of mine not picking this book up like 2 years ago, because I could have been so much further into the series by now. So this one features our main character, Sarah. She is a midwife. She is actually from a very wealthy family, but she has turned away from that life, and she lives a okay life, at least for a woman on her own at this time. This takes place in the turn of the century tenements in New York City. She is a midwife. She has a routine delivery one night, and there's another boarder, a young girl, who actually is murdered at the same boarding house where she delivers a child. And the sergeant actually asks her to take a look at it to see if there's anything that she can pick up on that he doesn't. And she discovers that the victim is actually from one of the most prominent families in New York, but they want nothing to do with solving the murder because they are afraid of scandal. And so Sarah is not happy with this, and she decides to look into the girl's murder and get justice for herself. This book, the writing is so addictive and well written. I love the prose, I would say, and I feel like the dialogue is very realistic. It flows so well. I feel like you're really within a normal conversation. I mean, taking place in the early 1900s, of course, but it just feels like extremely real. Everything feels very real and visceral in this. I would say some warnings, although this isn't an extremely graphic mystery. There are like darker mentions of things that can go wrong during like childbirth because of the main character's profession. So keep that in mind. Nothing is too overly graphic, but if that is something that you would not want to read about, please keep that in mind. Because of course Sarah is a midwife, so there are several deliveries that she is doing throughout this, or thinking about past ones, that sort of thing. It's very interesting to see the prominent family that just close up. They don't care about justice. They're more interested in getting like heirloom jewelry back than justice for their daughter, which is just heartbreaking. I'm like, I can't imagine. I mean, nobody wants a scandal, of course, but I'm like, if someone hurt like a kid or someone in my family, like I would absolutely, like what kind of people are we talking about here? But everything is explained really well. I like seeing the different social statuses. In this book, you can really tell that even Sarah herself has some biases against lower class people because of her upbringing, even though she's kind of broken out of that, but there's still some of that inherently with her. And I like seeing her kind of grow out of that. I'm interested in the mystery. You get to read parts where you're kind of following the sergeant and parts where you're following Sarah, although it is told in third person, but you get to kind of follow both characters at points, Sarah being the primary character. But I am enjoying Sergeant. I think he's an interesting character. I'm curious about his past and learning more about him. He seems like he'll be a reoccurring character. And yeah, so far I'm loving this. It is a really good read. I could definitely see this being a 4.5, 5-star read for me. I'm very curious as to how the mystery is going to end for this. And it's also interesting to see Sarah limited at times by what she can do because she's a woman. And this is the early 1900s. And of course, there's still limitations on women today, which is just, I'm not even gonna get into that. But of course, that is even more restrictive at this time. And it's interesting to see what she can and can't do because of societal norms and how she handles getting around that to solve the mystery anyways. So I'm rooting for Sarah. I love her as a character. This is a very interesting and easy to slip into historical fiction that I'm really enjoying and could definitely see myself reading more of in the future.
Boaz, is this your first time seeing snow? You want to go see snow for the first time? It's a very light dusting, but there's snow. Come on. What do you think, Bo? Come on, Bo. Boaz, what do you think?
So I think Boaz is not the biggest fan of snow. And it wasn't even a lot. I think he likes it better than rain because it's not as wet, I guess, and it's not noisy. He doesn't like the noise that the rain has when it's like banging up against the house. But I'm not sure if he loves the snow. He was kind of looking at it and like shaking it off his paws and was like, what is this stuff? We're gonna get you a little treat to make up for the snow. There you go. Hi guys, I'm here with my journal lineup for the year. I know some of you are also reading journalers or just enjoy stationery and things like that. So I thought I would show you the 3 journals that I have in my lineup. Now I always have some other journals for like general to-do lists or like an actual like journal, but these have specific uses. So this is actually my Commonplace book. I've just recently started. This is from the brand Peter Popper Press. And I just take notes on topics that interest me. Like if I watch some kind of documentary or something of the sort. I watched like a Roanoke, like the Mystery of the Lost Colony history, like 45-minute kind of documentary on YouTube the other day, and I took some notes on it because I just found it so interesting. It's a mystery that really has always fascinated me. A lot of the stuff I take notes on here are related to history because a lot of the nonfiction stuff I consume is historical. That's just my kind of preference, but I also use it for some brainstorming or anything I'm really trying to learn or retain. This is my 2026 journal. It is not a reading journal. That's what this one is here, which we'll get into. I used this for 2025 as well, and I just decided, since I didn't go through the whole thing, to add a tab here and start it here. So this is my cover page, and for me at least, this is where I keep all of my kind of goal setting that's not specific to reading and like any tracking I'm doing in my life. So I have this pretty very chaotic, so I have a very scrapbooky kind of journaling style. I'm not big on drawing personally, but I love using stickers, washi tape, doodling, that sort of thing. And these are just some of my favorite things. I have some of my favorite princesses for Disney. I have some Scooby-Doo. I have lots of bookish things, of course. And this next page is my resolutions for the year. Now I do have these covered up with these 2 post-its just because they are a lot of very personal goals that I don't want to share with the entire world. But as you can see, I also have some things like I printed out the Sherlock Holmes here, just kind of put it all together, different stickers, did a little bit of doodling. I have Snow White here hanging out. Another sticker here, I did some stamps. I'm still kind of working on that, but I enjoy the stamp look in my reading journal. And then what I do on this page, and this is what I've done for years now for goals, is I'll have my yearly goals, but then I'll break it into quarters. So I have my quarter 1 goals here, which again I'm covering up, but I have some fun, cute stickers just to kind of decorate each section. And I broke it into quarters, and for me this makes the goals a lot more achievable. That way if I'm, you know, like one of my goals is like fun goal, like to learn 20 new recipes. I like to try out 20 new recipes a year if I can help it, between savory and baking, which I'll show you how I track in a minute. So I'll break it down 5 new recipes a quarter, you know, it helps me stay on focus, and it's fun to be able to check those off as I go throughout the year and know that I'm working towards the goal and like staying on track. So that helps me a lot. And then speaking of recipes, so I have Tiana, she's one of my favorites, and obviously I really like her, but I have savory and baking, and throughout the year I will record any new recipes that I try under these 2 sections, and whether or not they turned out. I only add the ones that turn out to my final recipe book, but I just like to see how much I've grown each year in terms of what I've been able to make. Like, it's really fun to look back 4 years ago and see some of the things I was working on or still struggling to learn how to cook, but now are kind of second nature. So I think it's really fun and motivational. And I personally like to make a lot of goals that are also fun. You know, I don't feel like all goals have to be like, you know, exercise necessarily, or things that are hard and not so fun. I like to make fun, achievable goals as well. And then one of my goals actually is for monthly date nights with my husband. Now, we do more date nights than that, but I wanted to have an intentional monthly date night with like kind of a special, out of the ordinary thing for us, like going to a museum or a movie or something we don't normally do. Maybe taking a little day trip, something like that. So I have this here with each month so I can put down what we did. We already have one planned for January. We're going to take like a little day trip and go to a museum and just do some fun stuff around that town. So I'm really excited for that, which I'll record once we do it. And then I am working on, in part, with the Commonplace journal. I like the idea of this personal curriculum kind of trend that's going on, where people specifically study a specific topic, not for school, not for work specifically, just because they're interested in it. So I have a list I have some things I would like to really dive into this year, maybe watch some documentaries on, maybe pick up a nonfiction book or two on, something like that. And these are some that just kind of came to mind for me. And you'll notice there's a couple about mystery novels, Agatha Christie. I like a lot of things about kind of history, disappearances. So I have the Great Lake disappearances here, Arctic animals, Victorian England, the history of Sicily, because I'm Sicilian and I've studied it a bit, but I'd like to know even more. Just things like that. And then next year I have my Christmas spread. So one of the ways I keep myself less stressed out in December and also just financially on top of things is I like to spread out buying gifts throughout the year if I have a really clear idea for someone. And so once I've purchased a gift, I write it here, and then once it's wrapped and under the tree, I check it off, which of course only happens like in November, December. But I like to do that. It helps me kind of keep on track. I loved this washi tape I found at Michael's on clearance after Christmas. It's so fun. It like looks like stamps. And that's it for now. I will add pages to this and take notes in it, but that is kind of my general gist. That's how I stay organized. I hope you guys found that interesting. Let me know how you like to track goals or keep like kind of a yearly overview of things, I guess, if you do that. And this is my reading journal, which I'm super excited to share. I purchased this journal on Amazon. It was like $9 or $10. It wasn't a super fancy journal. I will link it down below if you are curious. We just have some stickers on the opening page here. This is my title page. Again, very kind of scrapbooky. Some of these are things I printed out, like I have Hercule Poirot and this like kind of crime board because I like mysteries. I have a bunch of different stickers, quotes, washi tape. It's very eclectic, but I like it. It makes me happy. It's all these things I love. This next page is much simpler. This is my reading goals for the year. So I have a number that I'd like to hit for the year. I'd like to read 6 or more nonfiction books. I'd like to read 4 or more Agatha Christie novels. I want to complete my read it or unhaul it list, which I will have a video coming up soon on. I'd like to reread at least 3 books. I am someone who very infrequently rereads, but I really enjoy it when I do, so I need to make it a priority, I think. I'd like to read at least 2 Christian nonfictions throughout the year, and I want to keep up with my Commonplace book. I left space here in case I come up with other kind of fun goals throughout the year, but these are kind of my primary goals, and of course I have Belle here with her book, just a little bit of an accent. This is my read it or unhaul it page. I'm doing an in-depth video on all these books, but I did one last year. It's an exploding TBR where basically if I haven't read these by the very end of 2026, I will donate them, because these are just books that have been lingering too long on my shelves unread. So each of these I'm going to fill in with a color based on what happens, whether I read it, DNF'd it, or unhauled it. I think I'm going to change the unhaul color to a green. I think that'd be prettier, but this is how I left it. So once I read something or handle it, unhaul it, whatever, I will fill it in, and I think it'll be really cute at the end of the year. We'll see. This, again, something coming up on my channel, but 19 Cozy Mystery Series to start. I printed out the covers of each series, the first book in the series, and then just kind of decorated it. And as it goes, I will put a little check mark or like X on the cover to indicate that I read it, or at least read the first book in it. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. I love how this one turned out. This one is my series finished in 2026 list. So I started just jotting down series that I finished last year in my previous reading journal, and I thought that was really fun, so I wanted to make a formal spread for it this year. I don't feel like this really goes with the page, but I love Scooby and Shaggy, so I was like, whatever. Then this I printed out, and these are some series I'd like to prioritize finishing. So the Record Shop Mysteries, the Mimi Lee Mysteries, and the Soap Making Mysteries, I only have 1 left in the series, so that should be pretty easy. The other ones I have a handful more to finish, but as soon as I finish one series, I get to color in one of these. I don't know if I'll actually finish 15 books, we'll see, but this way I can then record the series over here and maybe put the date that I finished it, just as kind of a curiosity thing, but I'm really excited for that. And then last but not least, at least so far, I like to make spreads for readathons and TBRs, but I have my Patreon Cozy Haven book club. Our first book club pick is in January, and it's going to be Murder at Blackwood Inn by Penny Warner. I've never really heard much about the series. It's a B&B mystery. I'm really excited for it. And what I like to do is, I did a spread kind of similar to this last year. This was actually my first time using kind of a page like this, which I think is really cool. But what I do is I just fill in the star rating and then write a little summary of my thoughts, like 2-3 sentences right next to it. So I'm planning to have 3 here, the first 3 months of the year, the next 3 months, and then this page I've already marked and saved a page for will be the last 6 months of the year, because we do 1 book a month for the Cozy Mysteries. So yeah, very excited for that. Again, it looks a little empty right now, but as the year progresses, it's gonna fill out really pretty. And yeah, that's everything for now. So it's not, I don't do a ton of spreads at the beginning of the year. Like I know some people will do like 20 different spreads or something. I kind of focus more on readathons and TBR goals, like seasonal TBRs as I go. But I think it turned out really cute. I'm really happy with it. This is my first time having a reading journal that's flat like this, so I can actually do a spread where there's stuff in the middle, which I'm super excited for. So, and this one does have bullets on it, so it is a bullet journal technically, which so far I'm finding kind of helpful with trying to write straight-ish. I'm not very good at writing straight, but I think it helps a bit. So that is everything for now, but I hope you guys enjoy that. If you keep a reading journal or any type of journal, let me know what you keep. If you're a planner person, I would love to know. I love stationery and stuff like that, so I always love hearing about how people organize their lives. And yeah, those are my 3 journals for the year, which I'm very excited to use. Let me know what you like to use and how you're planning to journal this year if you are. Hello my beautiful friends. I'm going to be wrapping up this vlog and doing a get ready with me today. Very excited. If it's a little noisy, it's hailing right now. I thought it was snowing for a moment because it's very white and icy, but it's hail. It is hail. But we're just going to go ahead and get in. I've already moisturized, put some eyeshadow primer on, and put a little white eyeliner on my waterline just because I don't want to poke my eye out while filming. So we have some hits and misses. Let's talk about Who's Dead Doc first. So this is the second in the Jewels and Buns mystery series. I'm going to be using this new eyeshadow palette I got for Christmas. I love the Grinch so much, so just going to do a quick eyeshadow look with that. So the Jewels and Bun mystery was good. I will say I think Jules as a character is she's a little too impulsive for my taste at times. I'd still give the mystery like a 3.5 stars. I had a good time with it. The audiobook really brings it to life because of Bun's voice by the narrator. It's just really fun because he is a talking rabbit that only Jules can hear. And they are, you know, partners in crime as they solve mysteries. And he's always like, I have my hearing superpowers, you know, I can help, Jules, let me help. And it's so darling. So if you're looking for something lighthearted, whimsical, fun, I think it's a good one. The mystery for this one did surprise me. I didn't quite catch on in time. I was able to pick out the person, but the motive really surprised me. So that was interesting, and there were some interesting parts of the reveal that I definitely wasn't able to put together. So that was a nice surprise. I think the narration, like I said, really makes this series. I did read the first book physically, so I did enjoy that as well, enough to continue the series. Okay, we're just gonna keep it bright and light on the eyes. It's not a series that it's a series I want to finish this year because there's only 1 more left in it. But it's not a series that I would put in like a top favorite list for me. It's a good series, it's fun, I'm glad I'm reading it. I love the rabbit rescue farm element, that really makes it so interesting to me. I love hearing about how that's done, how they're raising money for certain things. I love Jessica, the vet character. She's a lot more practical than Jules. Jules is definitely, like I said, very impulsive, and sometimes I kind of have it in my head where I'm like, why are you walking into this like obvious trap, you know, like she can be a little ditzy, I think. I'm like, I need her to think a little bit more before she acts. But overall, 3.5 stars, good read. The Scapegoat by Daphne Du Maurier. I am postponing this. I'm not going to finish this in this vlog because it's a book I'm really enjoying reading more like 1 chapter at a time versus reading a lot at a time. So I'm not going to be able to finish it in like a timely manner for the vlog, but I do want to finish it this month. But I am enjoying it so far. Not as much as Rebecca or My Cousin Rachel or The Frenchman's Creek. The writing is very pretty and lyrical, very atmospheric. I think this author does that so well, but I'm having a little bit of a slower time getting into the plot. I don't know if it's, perhaps this is my first time reading from a male character's perspective written by this author. I don't know if that makes a little bit of a difference in how I'm connecting with the character. Not really sure, but I am enjoying the writing. It is beautiful. And like I said, we have two people who look very much alike, a Frenchman and an Englishman. They have like the exact same build, look. One of them ditches the other, and the other kind of takes on that person's identity and is left as kind of a scapegoat for what that person's done. And we're learning about what this person did in their past because we don't know. So I'm curious about where it's gonna go. I'm planning to try to read a chapter a day. That's my plan. As for A Biscuit, a Casket by Liz Mugavero, I loved this. This was so fun. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. This is the Positively Organic mystery series, and our main character is Stan. She's catering a doggy costume party at a farm, at a dairy farm, and someone is murdered in the corn maze. And this sets off a whole chain of issues. And I like Stan as a character. I think she's relatable. I love her passion for animals, of course, being an animal lover myself. I love the eclectic group of animals she's adopted. She's like a cat and like 3 dogs that are rescues and strays that she's taken in, which is lovely. There's actually some recipes for dog treats in the back, which I really wanted to make one, but there's some stuff Bo's allergic to, so I'm like, okay, maybe not this recipe, but I want to make dog treats at some point. Yeah, the mystery was great. I had a really good time with the mystery. I called part of it, and then another part of it completely blew me out of the water. I was like, I didn't see that coming at all. So overall, really enjoyed it. I would like to go back and read book 1, and I'm not sure how many books are actually in this series, but it was a really enjoyable read. I really flew through it, especially the second half of it. The mystery really picked up. Stan is a very active sleuth. She doesn't sit rested on her laurels. She really gets into the action, does some active sleuthing, which I enjoyed, much to some of the people in her life's discomfort and concern for her, which I would definitely be the worried best friend probably, so I'd get that. And last but not least, I started If You Lie by Caleb Stevens last night, thinking I would update you on it in this video and then give you a final update when I finished it. I read 40%. I DNF'd it. I tried. The last 2 evenings, I've tried to get myself to read this. So, If You Lie by Caleb Stevens. So the premise for this is we have 2 sisters, and they're actually very estranged, which I didn't realize, and they are reconnecting on this cruise together, and unfortunately there's some kind of dangerous game going on. And this sounded amazing to me because I love an isolated setting, a cruise ship, as isolated as it gets. If you're in the middle of the water, oftentimes there's no Wi-Fi, so lots of great things for like a thriller mystery situation. And yeah, our main character is Olivia, and she is not where she wants to be in life. Her sister Quinn, out of the blue, reaches out to her and is like, hey, I really want to reconnect after all this time. Can we, like, why don't I take you on this cruise? So she agrees. She's kind of nervous about it. She's also a true crime podcaster full-time, Olivia is, and Quinn has massively changed since she last saw her sister. Her sister is now like, looks a lot different, holds herself differently, talks very differently, and is in like a much like higher tax bracket, very, very wealthy. She's engaged, all this stuff. So they're on this cruise, and it very much turns very quickly into this like kind of cult-esque vibe. It's a very small group of people on the cruise, and it's very culty. And normally this would be like right up my alley. I do enjoy reading thrillers that involve cults. I find it a very fascinating and terrifying concept, and with this though, I just didn't, I don't know, it just was all over the place, and then I was kind of just lagging with reading it. I just felt myself not wanting to pick it up. Even like close to the end of when I stopped reading, there was like a pretty good reveal that was like, oh, and I thought for a moment maybe this is what's gonna like regain my focus in this, but I don't want to read it. I really don't. I just read through a different thriller, Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cashino, and I flew through that. I ate that up. That's how I want to feel when I read a thriller. I want it to be like this bingeable read that I just can't put down. Like, I need to know, like, the edge of my seat. And with this, even though there were some elements that on paper were really kind of shocking and, ooh, where is this going? I also just felt really bored, and I don't know exactly why. It just wasn't for me, so I did DNF it about 40% of the way into the book. So that is it for this Read It Unhaul vlog. Kind of a messy vlog. I guess my like reasoning for having these books sit here on my cart was accurate for the last batch of these. I had some really good wins otherwise, but other than Murder at Astor Place, that one of course was 5 stars. That was so good. Like I said, I'm enjoying The Scapegoat. Gonna keep reading that. This one was a really strong read too. A Biscuit, a Casket. I want to go and read more of the series. But the Jules and Bun was good, but If You Lie and The Dante House were just DNFs. The Dante House I didn't even really read much of. I just kind of was like, no, I don't know. I don't know, it just didn't pull me in. But If You Lie, I really feel like I gave it a good shot, like 40% of the book read, and it didn't draw me in. Even though there were so many elements that, when I'm describing it, sound like, yes, this is something really interesting that I would love to read. And I totally forgot I actually need to put my lipstick on. Let me do that real quick. And yeah, so a little bit of a bummer ending for this vlog, but I still had 3 good reads, and yeah, I still had a handful of good reads, so that's something. Will count. You know, I loved Murder on Astor Place, so that's a big win for me. That's definitely going to make some recommendation videos. I really want to get the next book in the series. Yeah, I don't have the bingeable feeling when I'm reading historical fiction very often, so when I do, I get very excited. And yeah, otherwise that is the end of this vlog. If you enjoy cozy reading vlogs like this, if you are a mystery lover, whether that's cozy mysteries, murder mysteries, or thrillers, I'm a huge mystery lover. I would love for you to hit subscribe and hang out. And thank you for watching, guys. Let me know, what have you read recently and what did you enjoy or not enjoy about it. See you guys soon. Bye!